Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. You can call me Kai and this is my crafty corner of the internet where I talk about all the cross stitch things that I get up to. And we're back with another regular flosstube update video. So this video is going to cover all of my stitching progress from December, and then we'll talk a little bit about my plans and my goals not only for January but also for the rest of the year. And before I get started, I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. I hope that this year is full of joy and happiness and the best wishes for, good health for everybody. So yeah, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and jump right in. So I'm going to start off with my finishes. I've already talked about this and shown these off in my last video, the 2025 finish parade. But in case you missed it, I'm going to cover them again. If you did watch that video and you don't want to see a recap of things that you've already seen, you can go ahead and skip to my whips. I have got timestamps in the description box, so you can do that. But yeah, let's get started with my finishes. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is that Secret Santa present from November that I stitched up. I talked about it a little bit in my last floss tube. Just the fact that I made it, but I didn't show it off or anything because I hadn't sent it out to my recipient yet. So I'll just go ahead and insert that clip of me talking about it. Hi friends, Past Kai here. Just wanted to record this little bit separate from my regular floss tube because this is a gift for a Secret Santa and I didn't want to showcase it on my channel before they had a chance to receive it, just in case they are watching. So this project is a start and a fully finished object from November 2025. I made up this cute little autumn cat ornament. The pattern is called Autumn Cat Card from the October 2025 issue of World of Cross Stitch magazine. The designer is Maria Diaz, and I finished it up as a little ornament. So I started this on November 16th, 2025 and finished it November 11th. I stitched it on 18 count white Aida and fully finished it with some quilting cotton batik fabric that I had left over from my toddler's quilt, and then a little bit extra embroidery floss to make the hanging hoop. And yeah, so this was stitched up in 5 days. It had a total of 1,096 stitches. And yeah, I stitched this up as part of a Secret Santa gift exchange from one of my Discord servers that I'm in. And yeah, now that I've got this little segment recorded, it's going to get packed up and shipped out today. So just wanted to show this off. And yeah, I will send it back to Present Kai. Bye friends. And we're back. Yeah, that was a really fun little project to do and I'm glad I was able to accomplish it. And now moving on to my next finish. This probably isn't much of a surprise if you've been following along with my channel for the last year, but I was part of the Twigs and Tea Stitch Along by Fine Frog Stitching. Here is where I was at last time you guys saw it. I started this project on August 18th, 2025 and was able to keep up with all of the weekly releases. And the last release came out on December 5th, 2025, and I was able to keep up. So the last release that we had was actually this little vase of flowers right here. It stitched up fairly quickly, and coincidentally, it was released on the last day, or the first day of the Jingle Ball, so I was able to sit in the stitching rooms and get this all finished up. And it was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed my time at the Jingle Ball. I'll probably talk about that a little more at the end, but for now, this is my finish for the Twigs and Tea Stitch Along. My plan will be to frame it and get it up on my wall. I think I can put it in an 8x10 photo frame. So I will try to do that within the next handful of months, but it's not a huge priority. So that was all of my finishes. Now moving on into my whips. So this is also going to act as like my sort of like little whip parade. But it's not very impressive because I only have 2 whips at the moment, which is fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. So for me personally, I have found that 3 whips is my magic stitching number. If I have anything more than that, I get completely stressed out. So my 3 whips in December were, twigs and tea, and these 2 projects that I'm going to show you now. So the first one that I have to show you is June Blooms by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Margaret Morales. I'm stitching this 1/1 full cross on 25 count pre-gridded Lugana with DMC. And I started this project on April 24th, 2025. And here is where I was at last time you guys saw it. I didn't get to stitch on it very much this month, but I was able to do 7 days worth of stitching. And with that, here is where I'm at now. So I did take it out of the hoop just so I could show off so I did take it out of the hoop just so I could kind of show off where I'm at, where I managed to get to at the end of the year, considering this was the first year I was able to, I started it in 2025. So here is my whole progress from the year. After stitching on it 7 days in December, I brought myself up to 18,232 stitches out of 208,000 total stitches for a total of 8.77% complete. I was able to finish 2 pages in 2025, and my goal for 2026 will be to finish the top row of pages, hopefully before June, but I'll get into that a little bit more later. So, yep, still working on the flowers up here. I like to stitch in 10 by 10 grid diagonals. I do not park. I start and stop all of my threads. If it interests you, maybe I will figure out how to record a stitch with me so I can show you guys like how I actually end up stitching this project. Just because I don't think it's very common. Like my way of stitching is very common amongst full coverage stitchers. I know like Royal Rose, I know parking for one thing is like very, very popular. I cannot handle that amount of thread dangling and tangling. I just cannot do that. Kudos to you if you can. That's just a skill that I just cannot learn. And that's okay. It takes all kinds of people in the world. But yeah, so like I know Royal Rose is very common. Strict like line diagonals is also very common. I don't do either of those things, but if I can figure out how to get my workspace set up to do a stitch along or stitch with me, then I will record one of those if you guys are interested in seeing it. So please let me know, and I will try to figure out the logistics of that. So yeah, that was June Blooms. I'm really looking forward to continuing stitching on it in 2026. And yeah. So my next whip is Overlook Cafe. This is a kit by Dimensions Gold Collection Petites. I'm stitching this with all the included kit materials, so the 18 count white Aida and all the Dimensions floss. I started this on June 6th, 2025, and here is where I was at last time you guys saw it. So since I was able to finish Twigs and Tea within the first week of December, I opened myself up to being able to work on Overlook Cafe a lot more. I have taken it out of travel project only status, and I'm now working on it whenever I feel like, just because it's a really nice small project to have. And so I could stitch it at the kitchen table, or I could stitch it in the living room instead of, if we want to, like watch a movie out there versus being in our man cave where my Lowry stand is set up. So after 10 days of stitching on it in December, here is where I'm at now. I did a lot of progress. I think like pretty much everything down this way what is new. I mean, so I had done some of the stitching down here, like some of the browns down here, but pretty much everything underneath this awning is new. And then some of the stuff over here. I did a lot of stitching on this at the Jingle Ball because again, it's such a nice, lightweight, easy project. I was able to stitch it up here in front of my computer so I could have, you know, comfy access to my computer screen and my everything for the Jingle Ball stitching. So yeah, I've made some pretty decent progress on this. I'm going to tentatively set a goal to finish this by the end of 2026, just because I received a bunch of cross stitch kits for Christmas and I want to be able to stitch them too. So this is now going to be something that I'm going to try to finish this year. And with that, that's all of my 2025 stitching. So we can now look ahead into 2026. So I've got a few different goals that I want to accomplish. Like I said, I really want to get the top row of pages finished on June Blooms before the end of June. I'd like to get Overlook Cafe finished this year. But of course, I'm going to need some new starts too, just to keep things interesting. I'm definitely planning on starting the Santa's Truck stocking kit by dimensions for my spouse. I was able to finish the stocking for myself and my 2-year-old toddler this year, and we hung them up on the wall and realized that the store-bought stockings that we had been using in previous years, the toes point in different directions. So my dimensions toes point to the left and the store-bought stocking toes point to the right. So I have to commit now to finishing my spouse's stocking this year so that they can all point in the same direction. And then on top of that, I'm going to actually be starting a new project here today as soon as I'm done recording this video. I'm going to be starting this cute little thing here. It's called Happy Bees, A Little Honey is on the Way by Serenata di Campagna. I actually recharted this design to make it into a birth announcement for our new baby that we're expecting at the end of June. So yeah, the base pattern is this one. It's so cute. I love this little bear looking. It's just adorable. We've decided to nickname this baby Bumblebee until they arrive. So I wanted something with bumblebees to commemorate that. So yeah, this is the base pattern. I will be stitching, I'm going to be focusing on this little bear, but I did include portions of this wreath. Here is the mock-up for the design that I recharted. I'm going to stitch the flowers and such in white instead of picking a blue or a pink, just because I want to make sure I get all of the stitching done and leave only the personalization details until after the baby arrives. And we don't know what the gender is going to be yet, so I figured I'd rechart them as white. And yeah, otherwise everything else was mostly the same. The wreath border I did kind of freehand. It was inspired by the border here on this little bee, but I couldn't figure out a way to make that circular frame be oval for the purposes of this pattern. So I just freehanded some leaves. It's fine. So yeah, definitely need to, so that's definitely going to be my first priority, is to get as much of that stitched up before June as I can. I don't think it should take me too long. I was able to, since I recharted it in Flosscross, I was able to save it as a PDF and imported it directly into Pattern Keeper, which is going to be fantastic. And Pattern Keeper says I've got a total of like 5,562 stitches. So really that's not that big. And I should be able to get that done like within 3 months, hopefully sooner, but I have everything kitted up. This is my fabric. It's all gridded out. I charted it to be, I'm going to be stitching this on 16 count antique white Aida by Witchelt. And I charted it specifically so it would fit inside. So the stitch pattern would be 8 by 10. Just to keep framing, to hopefully keep framing costs down. I feel like I'd be able to get like a 9 by 12 frame and then just mat and have it framed. I will be taking it to a professional framer because, you know, this is going to be an heirloom piece. I want to make sure it's done properly, but hopefully by choosing standard photo frame sizes, I'll be able to save on the framing just a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, so I really want to get the top row of pages done on June Blooms finished before the baby arrives, just because that would be a really nice like break point for me so that I could put it down and not feel like I've got something completely unfinished that I cannot attend to because I have to, you know, take care of a small newborn baby on top of a toddler. So it would just ease my crafting guilt a little bit if I was able to get June Blooms into like such a nice break point of the first full row of pages completed. So that is definitely my goal there. I've got it figured out. I've got a very arbitrary date or due date of June 21st for finishing the top row of pages on June Blooms, just because I needed to know how many stitches I needed to do a day to complete that, so I had to pick a date. So I figured if I do the 22nd, you know, that should give me enough time to work, but still be well before Bumblebee gets here. And if my spreadsheet math is correct, that works out to about 127 stitches a day, which frankly is quite doable in a 2-hour period for me. So just as long as I can sit down and like dedicate time to stitching on it. So like usually after my toddler goes to bed is when I get like the most extended period of uninterrupted stitchy time. And I can easily get 125 stitches done in that time frame, even if I'm dealing with a bunch of confetti. Yep, so that's going to be my goal, is 127 stitches a day to work out to getting the top row of pages finished before the baby gets here. The other project that I'm really gunning to start and finish, ideally before the baby gets here, but we'll see what happens, is a Christmas stocking for them. So I picked out the reindeer and hedgehog stocking by Dimensions. I still need to actually pick up this kit. This is not something that's currently in my stash, but I'll be getting that within the next couple of months. And my goal will be to start one of those 2 stockings, either this one for baby number 2 or my spouse's Christmas stocking, start one of them in February, March. But priority number 1 is going to be to get the birth announcement stitched minus the birth details. That way that's done and just sitting and waiting. And then priority number 2 is 127 stitches on June Blooms every day. And then I think that pretty much covers it. So yeah, that covers pretty much my stitching goals for right now. If I get Overlook Cafe done before the baby shows up, I may start another small kit. So I actually received quite a number of cross-stitch kits for Christmas this year, which I'm really excited about, but now I just need to figure out like exactly when I'm going to stitch them. I'm not the kind of person to hold on to things for the sake of just having them or at least I'm trying really hard not to. I want to make sure that everything that I bring into my life is something that I'm going to use and use within a timely manner, and not just, oh, I might need this someday. And so, like, I'm not going to show off my haul or a stash or anything like that, just as for my own, like, personal feelings. I can explain that more in the comments if anyone would want to. I just don't want to get, like, on a soapbox here on the video. But yeah, so I'd like to dip into my stash and pull out another kit, but again, I can only have 3 whips at one time, and the Bumblebee birth announcement is going to be my 3rd whip here in January. So if I can get Overlook Cafe finished before the baby shows up, I may dip into my stash and pull out another small kit, or I may just wait and see what else I'm stitching at the time. And of course, it depends too exactly like how close I am to delivering the baby and all of that. But yeah, I think 2026 is going to be a very interesting year. I'm going to continue recording monthly flosstube updates up until Bumblebee arrives, and after that, I'm not sure. We will see what happens. There may be a break between June and September, and that's okay. I hope you guys can understand that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next flosstube update. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing and sticking around if you like what you saw today. I did post a 2025 finish parade, so you can get kind of more of a sense of like my style and the kind of things that I like to stitch. I'm finding out that I'm really drawn to like cute, whimsical animal patterns, and then lots of florals and landscapes and full coverages. Basically, if it's a beautiful picture, I want to stitch it. I've also heard that Needle Lot Designs is planning on doing another stitch along here at sometime in the beginning of the year, and I'm actually really looking forward to that. I was not planning on doing any stitch alongs, but when I saw that Needle Lot was thinking of like a Fables and Fairy Tales stitch along, I was like, okay, that's gonna be hard to resist. I love Needle Lot Designs' patterns, and the Secret Grove stitch along that I did last year was so much fun. I think I'd really like to do another one of her stitch alongs again, and I don't think I'll be able to resist the this next one. And if that's the case, if it does come out, then I will happily shelve Overlook Cafe so I can keep my 3 whip maximum. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys for 500 subscribers. I am kind of blown away with that. I never expected that many people to follow this little channel. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please take the time to be kind to yourself and do something that you enjoy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye friends, happy stitching!